So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Social Media 101. I am Joanna. For those of you in the property world that you know me, I'm the admin of the Newbie Group, the Gratitude Group, and a few others. I was the one that pretty much set up most of the in the initial groups for the strategies. So I'm in quite a few of them, and I'm the owner of that spreadsheet as well. And for those of you outside of the property world that may be seeing this recording, so I'm also a meditation teacher and a mindset coach. So you might know me from those communities as well. So what we're going to talk about today, so I'm just going to give you a really, really quick intro of like who the hell I am and why I have the audacity to talk to you about social media. Then we're going to talk about platforms. We're going to talk about personal versus business accounts, how the platforms think. I really want you to start thinking about in the same way that the platforms think when you start to create your content. We'll talk a little bit about the Facebook algorithm, which is essentially all of the algorithms for all of the platforms. They all work the same. Types and topics of content. So there are different, so we're not going to go into specifics tonight. We're going to talk about different types of content. We're going to talk about engagement on the content that you are putting out there. We're going to talk about the difference between friends and followers, public versus private accounts, and then I will just give you a quick blurb about how I and Happy Friday are here to help you. So very, very quickly, who am I? So I am Joanna. I have basically spent the last 30 years, I know I don't look old enough, working in marketing agencies, mainly in central London, with big name brands, Honda, lots of automotive in my past, so Honda, Mercedes, sort of the companies are kind of going out of my head now, but Sky, lots of vaping clients and things like that in my past, as well as little startups like Beauty Kitchen, where literally we're taking a brand from nothing and getting it going. So I kind of understand both ends of the scale. And now I created Happy Friday to support startups and small businesses. So really at the start of the business is really where I find I can add the most value to you guys, not only in helping you obviously create your marketing materials. So I'm there to help you with, really understanding your why. I'm very good at that from a strategy perspective, of really getting good at helping you define your strategy and why you are doing that. And often the first strategy that people move towards isn't the strategy that they should be doing or need. If you're in the coaching world, the first niche that you're looking into is not the one that you actually should be doing. We often think with our heads, and that's the one time that we need to go with our hearts. I then suit the marketing to fit you. So not only your business, your why, but also what you're actually capable of doing. And that's why I've kind of set up a done for you and a done with you service. So done for is obviously the traditional marketing route where you tell me what you want, I go away, do it, bring it back to you, and then you pay me for that. Whereas done with you, a lot of people now are able to use, AI logo creators, AI website producers. They're able to use Canva, things like that, but then they don't really have the confidence in what it is that they're designing to actually hit the go button. And that's where I come in with the done with you service. So you do your creative thing, you send it to me, I review it, give you the benefit of my expertise, and then you can go off and make tweaks and then hit that go button with confidence. So if you are interested, I will go through a little bit more of my services towards the end, but happy-friday.uk is my website. Right, let's get into it. Let's talk about social media. So let's talk about platforms. So for the majority of us, there are 4 key platforms. There are a lot more out there, but it really depends on where you are and how much time you have for social media. But really, Facebook, Instagram, you could almost blend the 2 of those together under the Meta brand now. And then LinkedIn, which is primarily for business, and TikTok. So before you think about like which platforms you want to be on, you need to think about who your audience is going to be that's looking at this content and what you would want to know if they were if you were in their shoes, because that will then give you an idea about which platform to be in. So for us in the property world, you may be It's friends and family investors, it's finding other investors, it's finding guests and tenants. It even could be just having that social presence to show people in the finance space, so bridging companies and things like that, that you are active and that you do know what you're talking about. So you need to think about who your audience is. If you're not in the property world, if you're in the coaching or other business world, think about who it is that you are talking to, and then think about what platforms they are on. Okay, so as with all marketing, it's not about you. This isn't about you just putting everything out in the shop window. It's about you thinking about who your audience is and what do they need to hear. So obviously, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, they are the big boys. Really, these numbers are maybe a little bit out of date. They're probably a little bit bigger by now. But ultimately, those are the three big boys. Obviously, YouTube I didn't include on the main channel because it's just all video content, and that can be really hard going when you first get started out in business. But as you can see from the first row there, the age groups do vary quite dramatically based upon on the different platforms. So if you are looking for a younger audience, TikTok, Instagram is absolutely where you need to be. Whereas if you're looking for a slightly older audience, maybe it's Facebook, it's YouTube. Definitely if you're looking for investors or commercial serviced accommodation, if you're looking to do that kind of side, then LinkedIn is absolutely where you need to be. So some other considerations that you need to think about before you choose your platforms is what type of content are you comfortable in creating? So obviously TikTok is all about videos. If you are not confident being in front of camera or even doing voice to camera or creating videos from a technical perspective, TikTok is not going to be a platform for you. So really have to think about what it is that you are capable of producing. I haven't put X or Twitter as us older audience know them. I haven't put that on there just because of the volume of content that you need to be putting out there to keep up with the X channel. It moves so fast. At least with these other channels, you can post a couple of times a week and still be doing it okay. Again, as I just said, you need to be thinking about what frequency do you have available to be posting. If you don't have a huge amount of time, you don't want to be on a platform like X that needs you to be posting every single day, if not multiple times a day. So you want a platform, LinkedIn, for example. I heard somebody say the other day, if you post 3 times on LinkedIn per week, you will be above in amongst their top contributors. So, there really is a very vast difference between the platforms. And then also have a think about where are you comfortable on social media. So it may be that you've used Facebook in the past, you feel comfortable with Facebook, you know how it all works. So maybe that's where you start if that is appropriate for your audience, and you come back to LinkedIn a bit later on. So have a kind of think about that and where your existing networks are as well. So personal versus business accounts, I get asked this question on a pretty regular basis. So again, depending upon, there's a couple of depends that you're here. It depends quite a lot within most industries, but definitely within the property and touchstone world. It's almost like a strap line. So who is your audience and where are they going to be? And what type of business, or what type of account are they going to be wanting to interact with? So if you are looking for serviced accommodation guests, they are more likely probably to go to see a business page, for the location that they're looking for. But they, don't discount your personal profile as well, because, if you're big into open water swimming, for example, and you've got an SA close to an open water swimming location, then your personal profile is going to be very, very appropriate for them. Other investors, again, it could be either personal or business. It really depends upon how you want to present yourself as an individual or versus an individual. So friends and family, you've got to go onto your personal profiles to be able to do that. Existing tenants are going to expect to go into a business profile, not you. But tenant finding, again, could be across either. If you are a coach or another business provider, probably you will want to be posting on both business and personal accounts, because it could be some people will resonate with you as a business and other people will want to resonate with you as an individual. However, when a lot of us first start out in business, you have to think about what is your situation right now. Is it appropriate for people, everybody out there, to know you as an individual are doing X, Y, and Z in your spare time as your side hustle? So, would your company, for example, be happy to know that you're also investing in property? You're also a coach or a meditation teacher. Does their contract allow you to have side hustles? For example, this was very apt for me when I was still kind of thinking about going back to the agency world. If I had put on my LinkedIn account that I was, running a property business, running my own marketing agency, then that really knocks me down the list of people that are being put forward for full-time roles. And also you need to think about who in your personal network might not be as supportive. There can often be a lot of doubters when you first start out, and that might be an audience that you want to avoid. Got some strategies coming up for you about how you can do that, but it's just something for you to really consider. But also, it's not quite that simple. Firstly, you need to get inside the social media mind. So I've got a question for you, expecting any of you to answer that. But what is the top priority for social media platforms? A lot of you might be saying, volume of content or engagement or how many friends or followers you have. But actually, in this day and age, their priority is money. And obviously, the majority of these companies are Americans. It's all about American dollars for them. It's all about creating ad revenue. So when you are thinking about your content and how it is you are managing your platform, you might think you're operating off in this little silo over here, but actually you become part of this much bigger cog that is essentially enabling that platform to attract advertisers that are going to be paying them millions and millions of dollars a year. So what is important to advertisers? So they want to see, that they are going to be posting their adverts on platforms where people are highly engaged. There's going to be a lot of people seeing their adverts. That's what impressions means. It's the number of eyeballs physically seeing a piece of content and how long people are spending on that site. So therefore, what's the probability that they're going to see their advert? And so Facebook and all of the other platforms, because to us as individuals, as businesses, it is a free platform. But running these platforms costs millions, if not billions, of pounds a year. So the money has to come from somewhere, and it comes from ad revenue. So you have to get into the mind of these guys and work out, how we can work around their algorithm. Now, when you look at the PC route, Facebook says it makes personalized predictions about which content you will find most relevant and valuable as to what you see on your personal newsfeed. Now, I'm going to translate that for you guys. Essentially, they're going to put up which content they think you will like the most, comment and share on the most, to give them the stats that they can use to convince advertisers to spend more money with us. Yeah, so it is about generating a platform that is where people are engaged and are liking the content and sharing it and posting more content. But what's in the back of their minds is they need those statistics to be able to convince advertisers to advertise on their platforms. So some of the thousands and thousands of signals, Facebook is constantly changing its algorithm. The things that it's looking at when you post a piece of content up, as to it will so when you post a piece of content up, it will go through this sort of algorithm as to how visible your piece of content is going to be to the people that are in your network. So it's going to be when it was posted, so the time of day relevant to your audience, interactions with similar types of posts, who posted it and how engaged your audience are, how many users have interacted with your posting with your profile, how fast their internet connection is. If you're posting a really long video, for example, and someone's on a slow internet connection, Facebook's not going to want to show them that piece of content because they're going to get really, really frustrated with it and possibly leave the platform. There's also potentially someone's time zone that they are in. If everybody can mute themselves, please. The time zone that they are in, if you're posting in the middle of the afternoon, they're probably going to post to people that are also awake at that time rather than expecting them to see it that evening. And then finally, the types of content. So just put a red bubble there of links to where you are asking someone to go off platform is going to give you a low score in the Facebook algorithm, because again, going back to the mindset of Facebook, they need to show advertisers that people are on their platform for X number of minutes, if not hours per day. And if you're constantly clicking on links that are taking off the platform, then it's going to impact their scores. There is a number of pieces of banned content, just move myself out of the way there. So obviously anything that involves crime, violence, bullying or harassment, inauthentic behaviour, I'm quite sure what that is, misinformation, suicide or self-injury, child exploitation or spam, they will try and lock that down. And if they do detect this on your platform, on your channel, then they will lock you down, and try and get a channel unlocked by Meta is nigh on impossible. It's just easier to start all over again. So just be conscious of the content that you are posting. We all know the amount of celebrities that get lose their jobs because they repost something on their platform, on their channels that had anti-Semitic content in it or anything like that. You know, just thinking about Gary Lineker, he didn't watch the full video that he posted. That's what he said. And you know, he lost his BBC job as a result of that. But also Facebook will be looking for that type of content. So just
Running, yeah.
That. Sorry, I'm just going to mute everybody. I'll do that. This again. There we go. Right. So, what are your types of posts? So there are roughly sort of 4 types of posts when you're thinking about this. So you've obviously got your personal organic. So all personal or all content that's put onto your personal channel is what we call organic. So that's there's no money behind it. You've then got a straight business advert. You've got a business organic post over there on the left. So that's very similar to your personal organic. It's just posted on a business page. And then what you can do on a business page is put a little bit of money behind that one post to boost it and hopefully show it to a wider audience. So which of these gets the most visibility in your friends and followers newsfeed? So personal organic should be the highest, and they say it is. It sometimes doesn't feel that way, but it should be that, because if you are coming on as to your, let's just say Facebook, for example, as an individual, and you want to see what your friends and family are up to, if you don't see any content from them, if you just see a bunch of adverts from businesses, you are going to opt off that platform at some point. You're just going to say, look, I'm not seeing my friends and family. What's the point in me even being on Facebook? So that will always have the highest priority. So that's why I said, if you can post in your personal profile, because you want to target your existing network, that will always be the highest shown content. The next will be a business advert, because also it's paid for, and it's probably one of the most highest revenue generations that they get through their platform. The next will be the boosted organic post from a business page, and then finally business organic. So the takeaway from that is, if you opt for a business only page, if you decide you do not want to post in your personal profile, you only want to go to a business page, either be prepared to spend some money to boost your posts or even do some adverts, or to just not have too many people seeing your content. And that can be okay. It just really depends upon the reasons why someone is coming to your social channels. So This is a snippet from my meditation Instagram account. The business page is fine if without too much interaction on it. If what you're using it for is essentially to show people coming to check you out that you are active in the space. I've just written a blog on this on the website about how you can be using social media to essentially prove to businesses that you know what you're doing. So anybody can create a website. So say you created it in January and you haven't touched it since. Really someone coming to look at your business, maybe someone that you meet at a networking event, will come and look at your website and they will have no idea as to how active, how, hopefully they read some content there that says, yes, you know what it is that you're talking about, but you obviously can pay people to do those websites for people like me. And just to say that, I think in the business world, a website is still one of the main sort of tick box things. If you don't have a website and you are presenting yourself as a business, and you only have social media, you are sort of marked down by certain businesses. So I still recommend that you have a website, but that it is supported by social media, because social media really shows that you are active in the community that you are wanting to work in. So if there hasn't been a post for 6 months, then as far as someone, a potential investor is concerned, you haven't done anything in their sector for 6 months. Whereas if they can see that you're posting, so let's take the property for a moment, that you've been out and visiting places, you've been to networking, all of those types of different posts, and you're posting roughly once a week, then it's great. They can see that you are active in that community, that you are investing in yourself, you are out there, speaking to people about that, and they're more likely to want to work with you than with someone that either has a very quiet or no social media presence. So let's talk about types of content. And essentially 3 different types of content that you need to be thinking about when you're when you're mapping out what it is that you are posting. And I do recommend that you have a bit of a plan, you have a strategy behind what it is that you're posting, rather than just going, oh shit, what do I need to post today? I haven't posted for a week, I need to throw something up on my social media today. Have a bit of a plan in place. And essentially, you need a mix of these 3 types of content. So we've got informative, engagement, and call to actions. Let's go through each of them. So call to action, these are the big ones for us. So, it's a come to this talk. Register for the talk, give me your email address, whatever it is, book a one-to-one, meet me at this networking event, rent your property to me, whatever it is that you are needing for your business, your call to action posts, these are the big guns. But you can expect that these posts are going to get very, very little interaction, because even if someone says, yeah, I'm going to go off and, register for this intro talk, you're not going to see, them. They might like it if you're really lucky, but in all likelihood, they probably just click on the link in the advert or in the post, go to your website and complete it. So from a social media perspective, it doesn't look like there's been any interaction on that post at all. But maybe you've got 5, 10, 50, 100 people registered for that event, which is all great. So the next piece of content that is probably then the most important to you is informative. So this is where you're basically getting out the knowledge that's in your head, which is moving me over a little bit so you can see this type of content here. So, these are testimonials from people that you've worked with. They are little snippets of information about, these are, 3 or 4 different ways of me trying to get across the benefits of the meditation that I teach. It's, yes, mindfulness and Vedic meditation are different. It's one of the key things that I have to try and get across to people. So these types of content pretty much aren't engaged with too much. But if someone comes and scrolls down through, say, your Instagram or your feed, they will see these and hopefully retain some of these key snippets of information lodge them in their brains, and then they go, okay, actually this now sounds interesting, I want to talk to this person, and then they're going to do the call to action that you request in your bio. But again, number of engagements in that are very, very low. So what you need are engagement posts. And these are posts specifically put out to get people to engage with them. And by engagement, it's the likes, the reactions, it's the comments, it's the shares. So often these are things that are kind of not 100% about, they can be sort of on, if this is talking about your business, they're kind of over here. They're a little bit of an overlap. Quotes, things like that. Lots of people love quotes. They will share them. Maybe it's, a cute furry animal next to a coffee cup. It really appeals to them and they share it on their wall. It's got nothing really to do about meditation, but they will see on people on their wall will have seen the post has been forwarded from Find Your Smile. And hopefully that then gives me a bit of a wider audience. Or it's things like Facebook Lives, Facebook or Instagram Lives. If you're going to look at sort of the hierarchy of where engagement come from, lives are definitely the top. Videos, reels, stories, they're constantly bringing out new different types of content that you can put up, but anything that gets people to like it. So if you're in the property world, so this is all very relevant to meditation teachers and coaches in the property world, it's this tap or this tap, that color or that color, would you knock this wall down or not? Those types of things where you're trying to get people to say one way or the other via adding a comment what they think about what it is that you're posting up. And so what you want to do is to think about the ratios of content that you've got out there. So really for one call to action, so for one, do you know anyone who wants to be an investor? Contact me today. For every one of those, you need 2 informative and roughly 3 engagement posts. But they don't go in that order. So what you need to do is prepare for your call to action post. Okay. So I would do an engagement post that kind of gets people really interested in it, maybe something where there's a bit of a debate going on, anything that kind of gets people talking and backwards and forwards is amazing if you can get that done. And then what essentially you're then doing is then riding on the engagement of that post. So by getting a high engagement score, Facebook or Instagram, whoever, will see, hey, people are really liking the content from this channel right now. So I'm going to show the next post to more people, or to the people that engaged with the first one. They obviously like it, and we're going to show them the next post. And the next post is your informative one. That's the I don't know, people get great return on investment. You can't say that, but trying to think of an informative post. HMOs, are really great for cash flow, or anything those types of posts. You're not really expecting a huge amount of engagement, but you kind of want to get that information out of your head and into their heads. So you might get away with 2 of those before you then need to throw back in a couple more engagement posts. Again, so the informative ones. So if this is your score, so speak with Facebook, that first engagement post gets you up there. Your 2 informative ones kind of drops you down. Facebook's kind of going, okay, they're going off the boil here a bit. So then you have to throw in a couple of engagement ones. You have a couple and it keeps you high, so that when you then throw in your call to action one, boom, it gets shown to people. Yeah. So what do you post about? So 3 different things that you to have a little think about. To have a little look about what your competitors are doing. And you've kind of got a choice here. You can either fit in with what everybody else is talking about, or you can stand out. And it really depends upon you and your personality. So by fitting in, there is a sense of familiarity when someone comes to your channel. If they see the same sort of thing being said over and over, they're going to feel like, oh, okay, I'm seeing the same thing being talked about rent to rent. On this channel than I heard on a previous channel, so that makes me feel more confident. But then how does that make you stand out from the other person that they also saw? So you do need to have a little think about what's your USP, your unique selling point. what's going to make you stand out to that audience. You also want to think about what's your business personality. So how do you want them to feel about your business? So if you are running a service accommodation business, for example, it may be cozy, romantic, sexy getaways. You may want, you may be doing, I don't know, the Harry Potter or the Wizards or Vikings enthusiast sort of themed locations, or the open water swimming, as I just talked about. How do you want, they want those people to feel revitalized and connected to nature and all of that kind of stuff. So those are the types of posts that you want to be putting out to those kinds of people, because they will then want to connect with you as a brand. They want to know that you know what they're going through, what they are feeling, what they're connecting with, and that's very, very important in the meditation and coaching space, that you really meet those pain points. But definitely, if you're looking for investors, they're going to want to know that you understand their business priorities. They want to know that you clearly know their stuff, and you do sound like a professional business. So even if you are you're posting in your personal profile, still need to come across as a professional business. But be authentic, be yourself. If you are not a quirky person, do not try and be quirky just to try and get more likes and shares on social media. It will just come across as really awkward. And that's the thing you're going for. It will come across as awkward, and people will see through you and will switch off from your content. So you be you. That's why I said at the beginning, if you are not a face to camera person, don't go on a platform that needs a lot of face to camera stuff. Yeah, there are lots of ways of doing video without face to camera, but it depends on whether it's the business that's being sold or being promoted, rather, or you as an individual. So not all, so as we were talking about there, that engagement scores, not all engagement is equal. So when, this is very Facebook centric, but the other channels are starting to adopt these types of things. These points are just for illustration purposes. I have no idea, no one has any idea what Facebook would apply to each of these, but we do know that they are in these orders. So a thumbs up, a basic like, is essentially like 1 point. If you get someone to react, so one of the other emotions, they've had to put a little bit more thought into it, right? Their cursors had to hover over the like to wait for this menu of icons to appear. And so they put that little bit more thought into it. So a little bit, is no sort of 5 points. If they then comment on it, 10 points. If they then share it to their newsfeed, it's 50 points. If you can share outside, so this is the one time that Facebook likes you to go outside. If you share Facebook content on a platform outside of Facebook, loves you, absolutely loves you, because essentially you are then getting people outside. I think when you click on that option, it's Twitter and WhatsApp at the moment were the options that come up for me anyway. If you get someone from Twitter or X or wherever to come over to Facebook to have a look at that piece of content, Facebook are going to be very happy with you. Okay, so to think about those are the different types of points, and there are ways that you can get around that. So when someone comments on your post, it's really, really important that you then react to it. So again, not just by the thumbs up, but by the love or the haha or something like that, and then you comment back. Yeah, and if you can get a conversation going, even better, right? The minimum would just be thanks. As I did here, this was quite a while ago, so I've learned a lot since then. But if you could have said this first example here, hey Anne, I'm really glad that you liked the content here. What do you think was a really great example? What did you learn? And then get Anne to comment back, and then you comment back, and then you comment back. Do you see what I mean? If you can kind of get a conversation going, and then if you can get other people involved in that conversation, it's even better for you. But what this really does, every time you comment back, it adds another comment. So this comment from Anne counts as number 1. My reply to Anne counts as 2. From Jean, that's 3. Me back 4. So it's constantly adding up. Every time I clicked the love here, the numbers went up here. Okay, so this is about you being not just throwing content out onto social media, but to being engaged with your audience on your social platform. All right, let's talk about friends and followers. So, difference between friends and followers. So, friends are kind of like your co-performers. You can see their content, they can see your content. Sort of very traditional sort of Facebook behavior. Whereas a follower, they only they can see yours. You can't see their content. This is obviously very Facebook centric terminology on Instagram. Everyone's private or public, so you can pretty much see everyone's page. Number of friends really does matter to Meta, because again it comes back to the numbers that they're able to share with their advertisers. So once you get sort of above the 2,000 friends, Meta starts to take a bit more notice of you. When you get to 5,000 friends, you have to turn your this is in your personal profile, you have to turn to a professional mode, and then people can start to follow you as well. You can only have a maximum of 5,000 friends. The last time I checked, this might have adjusted more recently, but that was the last time. So there will be a limit, but so sort of between 2 to 5,000 friends, Meta is going to say, okay, this person clearly knows a lot of people, they have a lot of influence, and therefore we want, if that audience are engaged, this is someone's content that we're going to want to make sure that we show on the feed. However, when you are making friends, especially in the early days, please be a bit careful. So in the early days of social media, you could have scrolled through your friend list on Facebook and you would know absolutely everybody on there. Whereas now, especially if you're using your personal profile for business, I look at my friends list on Facebook and I know, if I know a third of them on there, I'm lucky. So, the way that we are using platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn again, there are a lot of people on there that I have no idea who they are, but they're in the same industry as me and therefore I've connected with them. Our networks are now getting a lot wider than just our friends and family. So one of the ways to widen your network really is to say find a friend. It doesn't have to be an actual friend, just somebody that you know that is within the sector that you want to work in, or is the type of person. So obviously in the property world, you're going to want to reach out to other people within the property network. You can see this first page of this is my friend Kathy's friend list. So you can go to your friends page, click on their friend list and see who they're friends with. I am pretty much friends with all of the people on that first page there. But scroll to the second page over here, they've got a bunch of other people that she's friends with that I'm not friends with. And so I can then go through and add 4 or 5 of them at a time as an add friend. When you see someone has mutual friends to you, they are more likely to accept you. So this can be, you can find people that live in a location. So say you are investing in a particular location. Well, like me as a meditation teacher, I have to teach people in person. So I tend to try and find people that are living in the area that I am living in at the time. And so I will reach out, look at a friends list that I know lives in that location, or someone that went to school there or whatever, and start to look for their friends and add people that way. So you can grow your group, your connections quite quickly this way, and so therefore there are more people to see your content. But don't be too friendly. If you again, I don't know the exact algorithm, but this has happened to me. If you limit yourself to roughly about 20 requests per day, either sent or accepted, you'll be fine. If you kind of exceed these on a regular basis, Facebook will block you for 24 hours because they will see what you're trying to do. You're trying to arbitrarily get yourself to 2,000 friends so that you're trying to break their algorithm. So just be a bit sneaky and stay under the radar. Right, public versus private. So historically, all of our accounts will have been private, and definitely if you are posting pictures of your children, or real time where you are in the world, things that you're doing, make sure that that content is going to be private. You don't want that out in the public domain. But if you're running yourself as a business, then that content has to be public. By putting that barrier of we've got to become friends before you're able to see my content, unless you're going to say this is an exclusive club, like joining communities and things like that. That's very different. Just coming to see a business page. So let's use a scenario of you've met someone at a networking event, you've given them your business card, they've gone to your website, they've seen your Facebook or Instagram link there, they clicked on it, they want to go and check you out over there, and then they've got to wait for you to accept their friendship request, and that might take 24 hours if you're lucky. It's just another blocker for them looking at your business. So if you are using social media for that type of thing, you need to make sure that that content is public, and it is available for people to see right there and then when they want to see it. But if you are using, so let's just say Facebook again, for your personal profile, what you can do is create groups of friends. So when you go into your friends section of so if I just go back. Oh, yeah. So if you go here, when you click on these three dots here, you can sort of say add them to a group. So you can create a inner circle or friends and family group or something like that. And then when you go to post, you can post only that group, or you can post to your public account. So just be conscious of the content that you're posting out there. But also, I think, yeah, if you are going to be putting that out there as a private content, if you're going to switch from private to public, your post, just your profile, just go and have a little trawl back and just make sure that there's nothing there that you wouldn't want the world to see. Maybe anything beyond a couple of years ago, it's not so much of a problem, but if you went out and got wasted 2 weekends ago or whatever, that might not be the content that you want your business contacts to see. So make sure that that content is going private. So I really hope that has been helpful to you guys. It's given you a bit more of an understanding of the platforms and some of the questions that you might be thinking about as you're starting your business. But I just want to say I am here, obviously, as Happy Friday Marketing to help you guys. Be here to help you with your marketing strategy. So work out which platforms you need to be on, what marketing content do you actually need for your particular business. And I can then, so we can work out what it is that you need. I can then design your logos and branding, your business cards, leaflets, obviously do your websites for you, client presentations, and then your social media strategy, and even create your social content for you if you wish. I also do a number of other sort of training pieces. So really working on that sort of strategy development. If you don't know what it is that you want to do for a business, you can drop in a session with me, and we can work through some of your personal goals and really work out what type of business it is and the audience that you want to be talking to. I can help you put action plans together so that you're actually getting going, and then I can also keep you accountable through accountability coaching. So just move me out of the way. So there are a number of ways that you can get in touch with me. Most of you were already connected on WhatsApp through the various groups, but sorry, this is a bit QR code heavy, but they are the easiest ways of getting to things. So you can WhatsApp me via the QR code on the left. If you want to book in a free chat, either to talk about your strategy or to talk about as in your business strategy, or to decide what marketing content that you need, feel free to book in a half an hour chat with me. That's free of charge. And over on the right is the link to my follow page. So I am on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. There isn't much content on LinkedIn at the moment. I do have a blog and I do have a podcast. So the podcast is The Diary of a Business Setup. All of these are quite new because obviously I've been in the industry a long time, but Happy Friday is still quite a relatively new business. So I am documenting that process kind of as I go in my podcast. At the moment, that's on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. music. So I think that's it. Yes, it is. So any questions, anybody? Giving you a lot of content in 45 minutes.
Hi, Joanna.
Hey, Elaine.
Just going way back, you were talking about on Facebook, you said about and generally about, reels and things like that. And you mentioned something that sounded like lines, unless I completely misheard you. Um, which by the expression on your
Oh,
face, I obviously
lives.
do.
Sorry, lives. Facebook. So when you are
Lives.
literally doing a live broadcast,
Oh,
LBES. Yeah.
got
So if you are at a networking event, the deal clinic, you're out looking at a property, you can physically go live on Facebook and Instagram and stream right there. Right, guys, I'm here. I am at the Landlord Show, and I'm really excited to see so and so present. I'll check back in a little bit and let you guys know the amazing things that I've heard.
got you. Right. And I
Yeah,
thought I'd misheard it, but
yeah,
I'll
there you
just
go.
double check.
So lives are amazing. They're a little bit like this in the fact that not that many people probably watch it live. You will get people dropping in, and it can be quite nice to sort of you see people going, "Oh, hi, so and so's just joined," and whatever. If you're doing a longer presentation, but most people will watch that as a piece of recorded content. But
Yeah,
because you are physically live in the moment doing something, like Facebook kind of sees that as higher quality content than
yeah.
you've sat and produced something for hours or whatever. It's more authentic to what the platform is that they want to run, and so they show it to more people. So that post that I was showing there, I was literally in my kitchen showing how using porridge into a bowl to show how the nervous system fills up, and I probably had 5 people in person on watching me while I was doing it, but I had 193 people watch it in total. So it was definitely
Okay.
like, the majority of my posts get 5 or 6 people, commenting on it. So a live really, really does amplify you from the single figures to the triple figures.
Okay,
Definitely
cool.
worth doing.
Thanks.
But again, you don't have to be face to camera to do a live. You can turn your camera around, and you can be showing them around a property or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So lots of options.
Good.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? No problem.
There's some questions in the chat.
Oh, are there? Okay, great. Let's go to the chat. Sorry, you have to hide all of that when you're presenting. Let me just stop sharing for a second. Uh, Sumit, you said, is this on all platforms? What do you mean?
Sorry, guys. I think this was early part on. I should have just put some content behind it. I think this was about the being careful about what you post about. Reposting and sharing other
Yeah.
people's posts.
So
Is that with Facebook,
it will be in
Instagram?
all of them. So
Okay.
if you watch the news, when anything negative happens, so I don't know, there was a school shooting in Alabama, or some terrorist activity got stopped, hopefully, in whatever location. They will then often the news will then talk about looking into the key ringleaders' social media, like they were talking about it. Why aren't the networks locking this down? Like, and it turns to Facebook. It's Meta's fault that
Yeah.
conversation was able to continue to go on. If you think about the first Trump election, the amount of false content that was supposedly being put out on social media and swayed supposedly that election. Again, it wasn't the people that were posting it that were being vilified in the news. It was the platforms. And that's why these, Facebook, Instagram, all of them, they need so much money from ad revenue to pay for the people and the technical content, or the tech, to be able to check that content. Yeah. So just be really, really careful about what it is that you are posting. If it's, you know, from thinking about us in the property world, just be careful about posting deals. even if you are fully 100% compliant, advertising on social media an investment opportunity of pay this and get that can be influencing behavior. And if the Facebook algorithm thinks that is negative, they will block you. So just be really, really careful. Put that content on a channel that what we call you own. So if you really want to publicize that kind of thing, that's what your website is for. So your social media says, hey, amazing new deal, I've just announced it on my website, click here. And that is your call to action post. Yeah, you're going to get very, very few likes on it. Facebook are going to hate it because it's going to take people off the site. But if you've done a bunch of engagement posts beforehand, then hopefully people are going to see it.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cheers, thank you.
Cool, lovely. Elaine's one. Really recommend using AI to create posts and what to post about. Yes, so my next talk in a month, I think, or 3 weeks, I think it is talking about using AI, but it's more about how AI can speed it up than just getting AI to create content, just rubbish for you. Because remember, you are presenting your business. So I love AI. I almost think sometimes I have these emotional feelings about ChatGPT. It's like it's insane. Like, I say hello and good morning to it. Like be nice to the computers. They're going to rise up and take over one day. They want to know that you're their friend. But it does get things wrong, and it doesn't always get the nuance of your business. It doesn't always understand the nuance of that's it will go, okay, to promote your business, you're going to want to sell. Whereas that's not appropriate in social media. People don't want to be sold to on social media. They want to be entertained. Yeah. So you sell on your website, you entertain and educate on social media. Yeah. Right. You can train AI to think like that. It just takes a little while. And we'll talk about that in the next session. So if you haven't already registered for it, please do. Would you recommend a personal page or business page? Yeah, did I answer that for you, Sumit?
Yeah, that's fine.
Personal
okay.
business. Yeah. Honestly, if you don't have any issues with your personal page, I would have both. And I would just put the same content on both, because you're on your personal channel. You've obviously got more connections. People are buying into you as an individual. Whereas, and especially if you are using it, so your personal channel will have all of your business content, but also maybe a little bit more the flavor of you as an individual. Yeah. So, I am, on your business profile, you might say, I'm here at the Landlord Show and I'm interested to check out blah, 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 blah. And then on your personal profile, you do another one. Going, oh, God, I saw this really cool thing over here. And it's like, get a bit geeky on something. It might not be appropriate content for your business page, but it kind of adds flavor to who you are as a person. And, our mentors are always saying to us, like, people buy from people. So you want to get a bit of personality across on your business page, but you have to remember also, again, it depends upon the strategy that you're going for. So if you are looking for investors, if you're going to be using bridging companies and things like that, your business page doesn't want to be too gimmicky and too fun. It's kind of like you want to present a professional profile really on your business page, whereas on your personal page, that's where you can add the fun. Does that make sense? Yeah, it
does. It's just I remember listening to Abby's presentation about social media and stuff. So she uses a personal one, and it just feels like you're starting all over again when you got a business one. It just means that you're trying to create all that content again.
Abby is built, basically her brand is her.
Yeah.
And that really, for some people that works, for others it doesn't. Some people, maybe you're a couple, and you want to promote as the business, and maybe you're the I don't know, the wife, and you're not the face of the business, but you're doing all the social content. Yeah. So so that was a very generic. You're the wife is the face and the man is not. It's not everybody is comfortable being it's my face as the business. We're told to create limited companies because it gives us that liability protection, but also it can give you that anonymity protection.
Yeah.
And that might be what you want, particularly for your strategy. So if you are that type of person, then going business is also going to feel far more authentic with you. Whereas if you are quite happy to be the face of the business, like, me, I'm happy to be the face of the business. So I will put it on my personal profile as well. But, I'll also have the business one there, and it's literally the same content. I just literally post it on both. It takes two seconds more just to post it on both. And then just a little bit more on my personal one.
Perfect. Cheers. Thank you.
No problems at all. Any other question? Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for attending tonight. Thank you everybody that's going to watch the recording. It's going to take a little while to procreate, and then I will probably send it out on email tomorrow, or it'll be on the page. So just go back to the /property training or marketing training, whichever one you came into, and you can re-register for the event, and the recording would be on that page there. Thanks everybody, and hopefully see you in the AI content production in a few weeks' time. Have a lovely evening. Take care, everyone.